In this week's episode, we are going to be talking about a finished project, a brand new pattern, some new yarn that has come into the studio and I've started working with, and your comments. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. It's Karen Whooley, and I'm so excited to be here today with you. It's been 2 weeks since my last video, and between Easter and then last week getting the concrete poured in our yard and having the concrete truck outside, it just was not feasible for me to do a video. So all of that is gone. I'm so excited to be with you. I am loving this spring weather. I don't know how else to describe it. We've been having spring in the Pacific Northwest. I'm in the high desert, for those of you who don't know. Yes, Washington gets a lot of rain, but that's on the west side of the mountains. On the east side, we're the high desert. Now, we do get our share of water. Don't get me wrong, we get snow during the winter, especially farther north from us. I live on the river, or just off of the river. I wish my house was on the river because I would love to have the view of the water, but we don't get the rain that you think about when you think about Washington State and Sleepless in Seattle and all of that. I am in an area where is a lot of farming, and it's a high desert again, so we get weird springs. Sunday, my husband and I were at a baseball game. We have a minor league team here, the Dust Devils, and we were at the game. It was our first win of the season, and it was 80 degrees, and I actually got sunburned. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a little red here. I got sunburnt. I forgot the sunscreen. And now today it's in the 60s. So what is going on, I don't know, but this is our spring. But the fact that the sun is shining and it's getting warmer, I'm so excited. All my trees are in bloom, all my flowers are in bloom so far, all my bulbs anyway. My tulips have come up, my daffodils have come up, my bearded irises are starting to form their little spikes with flowers pretty soon. I'm hoping by June I'll have some bearded irises in bloom. My peonies are starting to bud, so I'm really excited to see spring. This is here living in this part of the Pacific Northwest, this is my favorite time of year. So I'm really excited. We have been doing a lot of stuff out in the yard. Again, like I said, we had a patio poured on there behind our third car garage. We originally thought we would do some sort of fruit trees or something there, and it's just not happening. So we decided to lay concrete. We're tired of the dust because our dirt is actually sand, and we're tired of the dust, so we just put a concrete pad in there. My husband's getting a shed, so we're excited for that. But that's enough about my personal life and what's going on there. Let's start with projects. First things first, I did finish that bamboo shawl. It still needs the ends woven in, but the shawl is done. I'm going to step back and see if I can show you. You guys saw, I believe you guys saw a little bit of the yellow last time. There is the edging. It is done. It is a crescent shaped shawl with a little bit of, well, because it needs to be blocked, you're seeing a lot of wrinkles in there, but I just wanted to show you that it's done. I actually, after I finish recording this video, I am going to be weaving in the ends and putting it on the blocking board because I do need to send it to my tech editor by tomorrow morning. So the pattern's written. I just have to put the gauge and stuff, and I always do blocked gauge, and I want to verify that my original gauge is still the same as my blocked gauge. So my original blocked gauge is the same as the shawl being blocked gauge. Let's put it that way. So that's done. I'm really excited. I've also started the first project of my book, and I can't show you yet because I'm not doing that yet. I'm not letting anybody know what's going on. I am going to be slowly getting more yarns in, but I do want to show you, since we're on projects, I do want to show you the yarn I'm using for this first project. I actually got it as a sample skein because I had written to Cassell a while ago, and I think I mentioned this to you guys before, but I written to Cassell because they had a bunch of new yarns since I had cancer. I hadn't worked with them for a long time, and so they sent me a box, and this is perfect for the first project. This is their Madrona, and Madrona is a fingering weight yarn. It's 30% baby alpaca, 30% merino wool, 20% bamboo viscose, and 20% nylon. So it's got enough nylon in there to make it a perfect for a sock if you wanted to do that. In fact, that's what they, well, no, I guess they don't. I guess it's their website that they showed socks. But this is perfect for shawls. This is perfect for garments. In fact, I'm going to order some more of this to make a garment that is no longer in my catalog, but I want to redo, and this is the perfect yarn. But this is not any of those things right now. I'm working on a project. You can probably see here that I am still attached to my project, which I'm not going to show you. But this yarn is yummy. It's squishy. It crochets up great. I've had to rip out a couple times, and it doesn't pill. It does have a little bit longer fibers, and I think that's the baby alpaca that's in there. Maybe the bamboo that are in there that catch every once in a while, but it's not like mohair where you have the problems with ripping out. So I highly recommend this if you can find it. I will link in the show notes where I got this yarn, but it's awesome. It's beautiful. I love it. So I wanted to make sure I showed that to you before we went any farther. I highly recommend that yarn. So if you have a yarn shop that carries it, or if you want to grab it online, I think it is amazing. Okay, so let's move on to what is new. Okay, if you're in my newsletter, you've already seen this. I was hoping to actually let you guys know about it last week, but with not being able to record the video, I didn't. But what's new is this new shawl. It's called Enchanted Vine. It is made with fingering weight yarn from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, who I will also link below. She did dye some extra yarn in this base. It's her Cerama sock, and it is the colorway Secret Garden. And I love it because there's little pops of color in there, even though it's got the greens and the yellows. There's a little bit of pink in there, that pop that makes it the secret flowers in there. Is absolutely my favorite shawl I've ever designed, I think, at this point going forward. It's a side-to-side crescent shape. I mean, even though I blocked it with a flat top, this is considered a crescent shape. You are working side to side from short end to short end, making the edging and the lace and everything all together. I used 2 hanks of this yarn, so I had 4 ends to weave in. So you start down here and you're actually working side to side and making the main field, which is just regular straight up double crochet with a cute little lace panel and then this leaf edging. It is available right now in my shop. I put a link in the show notes. And it is, I'm doing something new this month with the pattern. It is 15% off to everyone through the end of April. So if you haven't seen it, you go to my website, KarenWhooley.com, or check the show notes and go into the shawls section, and you will find Enchanted Vine, which is this. I love this. Oh, and this yarn is amazing too. It has such stitch definition. It is perfect to crochet with. I mean, anything. It's perfect for sock. It's got enough nylon in it if you decide to do socks. If you are doing shawls, if you're doing garments, it's a really, really soft yarn. I love this. I have a friend who's a knit designer who has just done a couple sweaters for Chicken Lady Fiber Arts in this base, and it's absolutely fabulous. So if you're a knitter, check out Gingy Knits on Instagram. I'll post her Instagram in the show notes as well. But that pattern, again, is 15% off to everyone. If you go into my shop through the end of this month, so April 30th will be the last day, I will again remind you guys next week, but I just want to let you know that it's there. It's my favorite, and I am excited to share it with you. I have not had time to prepare anything for a topic of the week, so I'm just going to pop in here and just say I just posted a blog post on losing your crochet mojo, and that happens to me all of the time. I tend to get obsessed with like shawls, and I'll start making a bajillion shawls, and then all of a sudden it's like I don't want to crochet anymore. I don't want to make any more shawls, so I pick up knitting, and and I haven't worked on my sweater, but because I am working on my book right now, but I probably will pick it up this weekend. And but that's what I do in between when I have trouble with my Crochet Mojo and I feel like, oh my gosh, my ideas are gone, my ideas of what to make next is gone. And a lot of people say, in fact, I was just on Instagram threads or meta threads or whatever you want to call them this morning, just because even though I don't post there very often, I just kind of like to see what other crocheters are doing. And another crochet designer said that someone asked her if what she crochets for fun, what she doesn't crochet for work. And she said everything she crochets is for work. And I think that is kind of sad in a way. I mean, yeah, you want to hustle and you want to sell your patterns and you want to get noticed, especially when you're a newer designer. And she is a relatively new designer. She's been around for a while, but compared to my 26 years, she's a new designer. And even when I was a budding designer back in the late 1990s, I always worked on things for my kids. That I didn't, do patterns for. I had, family members having babies. I was making things for them. I made the socks for myself, socks for my family. I feel like you lose your crochet mojo because you are not working on things that make you happy. And so even like the baby blanket I did, which you guys, I did the spiked one that I showed you a few weeks ago that I was making for my daughter's best friend and my niece. Those have been gifted. I just ordered this morning the yarn to make the one for the pattern, so that's coming. But those types of projects, even though I am going to be creating a pattern out of it, I designed it because it made me happy. And it was originally just 2 gifts, and I decided after showing it to you guys wanting the pattern that I was going to make a pattern for it. But I think that's sad that you can't crochet without thinking about your next pattern. I mean, I literally, while I was making that design, I did look at it and say, hey, is this something that I would want to write a pattern for? But when I originally wrote it, I just did chicken scratch. I think I told you a couple times that I had done chicken scratch because I just, I wasn't sure that this was something that I was going to release. So I'm excited to say that I'm going to release it. I'm going to have one of my stitchers stitch up this sample. So stay tuned for that. I'm not going to tell you what colors it's going to be yet because I need to make sure that the colors I ordered are what I want. So there you go with that. But I just wanted to say that if you are a budding designer out there, and I know there are some of you who are watching this that are budding designers, or even if you're old, not old, I shouldn't say old because then I'm really old and decrepit here, but if you have been around for a while and you've been designing for a while, if you cannot pick up yarn and design something for just the sheer enjoyment of it, or just crochet someone else's pattern, or just crochet just to crochet, I mean, it's not about work, then I think you need to find a way to do that. Now, for me, when I lose my crochet mojo, it's more of I am burnt out. I'm tired of making, like when I was doing my book of garden of shawls, I got tired of shawls. And that's why Coastal Crochet had garments and cowls and scarves and stuff in that one. And then Modern Italian Lace Crochet, same thing. I mean, just I didn't want to do all shawls. And even though I am known for my shawls, I'm known for two different areas of fingering weight crochet. My shawls, and I'm also known for socks, which I haven't done in a long time, but I have some patterns that if you have been on my website recently, I've taken down some of my sock patterns because I'm going to redo them. And so you might see some socks coming up in the future that are remakes of old patterns that are modernized a little bit and a little bit more of using more current yarns and things like that. In fact, one of them I'm thinking this might be in a different color. This might be a good yarn for it to revamp it. So that's just something I just wanted to mention. I am going to start doing more garments. I have two. You've seen the tank top. That is on the blocking board right now, the way I show it to you. It is done. It just needs to be blocked. And then, but that's the thing, is that I try to mix it up. I mix up what type of projects I'm doing in crochet, that kind of thing. But I also pick up something else like knitting or spinning. In fact, I've been looking, my spinning wheel is just right down here. You can't see it, but it's right down here. And it's had the same fiber on it for over a year now. Probably getting close to 2 years since the last time I spun this yarn or this fiber. So that's one of the things that I'm hoping that starting in May that I will be able to start processing is finishing up that yarn. And so I'll show you as I get working on that again. But that's the thing, is find something cross stitch. I mean, my cross stitch has helped a lot. I'm still not done with that either, guys, so don't ask. I've got to get it done because I'm hoping to bring it to my son in June. We'll see. Anyway, that's all I want to say about Mojo, but I'd love to hear your comments on, you know, when you feel like you don't want to crochet anymore, what you do. Is it something you pick up another craft? Do you just set it aside? Do you read a book? Do you go for a walk? I mean, what is it that helps reset? Someone on my blog actually said that sometimes it's a new yarn out there that suddenly jump starts, or a colorway. So is it something like that? Is it something you see out in nature or at the store? I mean, I know that I've had ideas jump started from tie-dye t-shirts, just the look of them, or clothing in the store, something like that. So I'd love to know. Leave them in the comments. I would really love to know how you get your mojo back. Okay, speaking of comments, let's get to comments that were on my last video. And the last video was on yarn substitution, and you guys didn't have a whole lot of comments to say about yarn substitution, but I want to start with Sharon Cody Cowgirl Creations. She said my volume was improved, and thank you so much. So I hope this video is just as improved. So let me know if it's not. And then she said, I love the crescent shawl at the beginning of the podcast. I've been wanting to try that shape. Is it a new pattern you are working on? And yes, I just talked about that pattern will be released hopefully sometime later this year. That is the goal anyway. It all depends on, the process, because I am also working on my new book. So we'll see, but hopefully it should be. Then Frances F527. Hello, Frances. She said, lovely visit. And yes, a definite volume improvement. So hopefully you guys are still seeing the improvement with the volume. And then she says, Holy Thursday there. And she had said a blessed Easter. I hope all of you had a beautiful Easter. We had my mother-in-law here. I think I mentioned that to you. And it was great. It was a great visit. We had an Easter egg hunt at my niece and nephew's house. And then we had Easter dinner at my sister-in-law's house. And my mother-in-law was here for several days. So, and I got to meet, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I got to meet one of my newest great nephews. he was born in November, and this is the first time I got to see him. He was in the NICU for several weeks before, so he was not down, and when they were down, Dave and I were doing other things, so this was the first time we got to meet him. I'm really excited. And then my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law took off for Boise, where my youngest great nephew that was just born, that I made the blanket for, that you guys saw, that blue one, she got to meet him as well. So that's how our Easter went. It was really a lot of fun. My kids were not here this year, so I got to love on all my nieces and great nieces and nephews, and my nieces and nephews too. So, okay, so then I have Carlene Roberts, 6002. She says, yes, this week's video is louder. You can tell I was having issues with sound. And then she says, yes, this week's video is louder than previous ones, so I haven't had to max out my phone or my computer speakers. Last week's intro was loud enough, but then the rest was very soft. Have a happy Easter. So, you know, things are getting better. Hopefully this one is as loud as that one was. And then she also said, I made Jane's Frida Flower blanket. It was challenging, but came out gorgeous. I forgot that I was supposed to do a book review on Jane Crowfoot's book, and I completely forgot until I just read this comment. So next week I will do a book review for you guys. But she was talking about Jane Crowfoot, whose book Perfect Crochet Finishing just had come out, and I had just gotten it, and I had mentioned I was going to do a book review. So my life has been crazy. I apologize. So you know, my brain is a little frazzled. So anyway, I hope that you guys got some fun out of this. I know I feel like this is not that long, and especially after a 2-week lapse, but it's been a crazy 2 weeks. I mean, between having family in town and then having work done in our yard, I feel like I'm still just kind of bouncing back into my normal schedule. So this week's going to be a little shorter. Thanks for being here, guys. Love you all so, so much. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the video, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, y'all.